I'm going to show you like very quickly what the the SQL Server looks like. So if you have installed, it looks something like this. Click connect to the database engine, and then you see that it has a database folder here. Inside you have all these different databases. Okay, and to create a database, you will have to here go and click a new query. Click on that. It loads a new window here, just a file. This is your script. If you create a new table, it will be with something as we did earlier. Just say create table my first table DB. I mean not the DB first database first DB, and then you click execute. Okay, so it's completed successfully. Over here, it's not shown here yet, but if you click and refresh to see it, you see that here is my first DB. Okay, it's added there. If you expand it, you see that the tables has nothing there. It's empty. So now I can go and create a table course, right? And I can now easily go back to the PDF. Should really quick. So the 34 down here. So if you have the interface, you could just basically copy this, go back in here and just highlight and paste if it lets you. Didn't. Copy. Oh yeah, this PDF it's protected. But I should copy and paste here. Let's do one example. Let's say course ID. Okay. And this is going to be integer. Integer. Just do like char of 4, and then I'll put primary key. I always miss the E. What's going on? So primary key, I can do that right away. I have the course, for example, title as a varchar of 55. Okay, let's just say I have that much only, and then I close it. Done. And then I'm just gonna say copy, highlight this, execute that code. I would have in there. Is that right? Oh, yeah. I have to make sure I use this. Right, I forgot to use use database first DB. So you can do that in the code, or you can go over here and just click the drop down. Where is that table? The database right here. My first DB. I use that. Then now I can insert into that database. Okay, a little bit tricky there. So I got that done, and if you expand down here, click refresh, you see that the table is now here, dbo.course. And to add data to that, you can do it manually. And the code here, you can say insert into course, and then the ID will be 1, and then the title is Java 2, right? No. Course ID, and then title, and then var values that and that. Okay? And then select that, run, select successfully, and then if I now select everything from the course, you see that has been added to the course was one Java and so on. Okay, so you can do that here, or you can go into the table here and just do a right click, and you can say design. Here you can design your table. You can add more tables manually, like a PHP admin. If I want to add another title, maybe like credits, click on that. Very easy. And then the data type will be just maybe int, right? Integer. And then I'm done. I close it. I save it. Yes, save that. And now I added 2 fields. And if you right click again, and I want to see what's inside, so you can just say edit the top 200 rows, and you have the actual data here. You can manually add this data in here. So it'd be like a 3 credit. This is course ID 2, This is PHP, and it has 3 credits as well, and so on. Okay, so very easy. You do it right there, and then just save it. And then now if I do this command, I added 2 of those. Okay, so much easier this way. But in Java, so when do that now, you don't have this luxury, the GUI interface. Okay, so that's why you use a different tool to build your database, and then you just basically run the code inside Java to retrieve this data. If you want to add data to the database using Java, then you have to know those SQL statements. So this command here, you have to know these information to insert data or to create tables dynamically in the code. Okay, so that's why it's important to know database. Okay, so here is what we need to do first. I will not go over the notes. You can go over the notes for all of them, but these are just the different types of connection you need. So to have Java connect to any database systems, you need what's called a driver. Okay, so driver is nothing more than an API. It's just an API that connects the Java language or program to that database. So MySQL has its own driver, SQL Server has its own, Oracle has its own, DB2 has their own as well. And the idea of connecting is you would load the driver first in your code. Once you load it, then you can establish the connection. Okay, so make the connection to the server. Once that's been connected, then you can go ahead and start using the SQL commands. Okay, so you can create statements. Create statements, and then you will execute the statements, and then you retrieve data if you need to process data from that. So these are the typical steps to access your database through Java. Okay, so right down here, same thing. This is showing you the actual code itself. So you need something like the driver manager dot register driver paren. Inside here is the driver name. Okay, and then once that's been done, then you do the connection, and then you start these statements here, and then you get the results. Okay, so all these 5 steps here in the notes. So these are the ones, the different drivers. So step 1, if you're using Microsoft Access, this is the driver you need. So basically, you just copy this line and paste it into your code. You don't have to type it. MySQL is this one here, and Oracle, and then SQL Server is this one here. Okay, so that's what we need to do. So we're gonna do we'll do a MySQL connection. Okay, and to do that, we need to do a few things. So I want to walk through this together with you. So if you go into the core shell, okay, the core shell in the Learner Unit 6, there should be a file already in there. This is what Tom was talking about earlier. Inside the apply folder, okay, this is file called MySQL connector Java 5137 bin jar. Okay, so you need to download this file, and then download to your local machine, and click on it, and it's going to download to your machine, and just keep it. And wherever it's located, you might want to find it. And so I'm going to go into my folder, and I think it's in the download folder. So right in here, MySQL connector java.5137. So move it into a place that you can easily find. Okay, so I'm going to cut that, and let's just say I'm going to move into just the desktop for now. Okay, so you can put it somewhere else. It's safe. So you paste it here. So it's in the desktop.
Why can't I view the files that are included in the jar?
You can't view from here. You can view from inside Eclipse, but this is it's a compressed file. So it's almost like it's a byte code, almost like a binary file. You can't view it. You can view only from Java.
Right, but it wouldn't let. It's not like I just want to look at it, extract it from the command line, and it won't let me do that, and I'm wondering why.
Yeah, I don't think it lets you do that. You only see it from the code. I mean, if you go inside Eclipse, and then you can actually view what's inside the jar file. Most jar files are like that. It's a library file. Okay, so once you downloaded that, then you need to go into Eclipse, and we're going to create a program. So let me run a different version here. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to create a new project. This will be just a regular Java project. Okay. Well, you can use FX is fine too. It doesn't matter. But I'll just create it as a regular Java project. Okay. Let's see. So a regular Java project. This is chapter 34, and this, I'll use the yeah, just 34 is fine. And default is all done. So now inside here, I'm going to so this is project 34. If you want to connect to MySQL, here are the steps. Okay, you need to go into Project, Properties, and the Java build path. Okay, so Windows, Project, Properties, and then Java build path. Under the Library tab, you want to make sure you add the jar file here. So we're going to go, and then on the right says add the external jars. Okay, Java archives. Click on that file, the window tab, and we have to look for the file that we saved earlier. So I saved mine to the desktop. Right? So I save it to a desktop. If you look at it, it's down here, the MySQL connector. And click open. So you should see that connected here in the libraries under the Java build path. And you can click apply, and then click OK. So now you should see a new folder called reference libraries. If you click on that, you see the MySQL connector, and like Tom said, you want to see what's inside, you see here. Okay, so you can extract it from outside.
Click on the project folder and go to properties.
Yeah. No. You go into, well, does it take you there too? I don't know. Yeah, that's fine too. Right click on that and go to properties, and then Java build path, and then make sure you select the libraries tab, and we're going to add a new library. That's all we're doing. And then external jar file, go find that MySQL connector jar file, and then apply, add OK, and then you should see the reference library added, and you see the jar file there. And if you want to see what's inside, then you can access from here. You can see all the content inside. All these are libraries. And so hopefully this answered your question earlier. You want to see what's inside.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you have this connector here, and then now I can go ahead and do my code to connect to the server. So let's create a new class. Let's call this the
You just have to add that one library, right?
Yeah, just that one for MySQL. If you want to connect to the SQL server, you need another library, right? Different connector. If you want to connect to Oracle, you need another one. You need Access, this is another one. So each server has its own connector. So you might have 2 or 3 in here, depending on which server you want to connect to. But this one, I just want to connect to the MySQL. So here, and then this program, just call it, I don't know, MySQL sample is fine. And then we have a public constructor, and just add that here. So is this your regular Java application? Okay. So now, if you look at the notes again, we need to add this driver here. So you're gonna add this driver add. You need to add that one there. Or I'm going to add from the other program that I have earlier, and I will also share this with you later on, so you can use that as well. I should have two of them. No. We run another instance. The Java 2. Okay, yeah, we're kind of out of time. So instead of just doing this, I'm going to hop over to the one that I had earlier already. And we will, where is this at? No. 32. Okay, so I have in here okay, let me just do one more thing. Let me just go and make sure I have that added. I do have. I'm gonna update that. Remove. Add the connector. Just do the same thing again. So notice I have two of them here. But for now, let's do that. SQL, it's in there. Okay. So, well, this one here is using the other one. I'm gonna let's see if this still works. So let me comment these out. I'm using the JavaFX, but it's the same thing. Okay, so what you have, it should be the same. So the first step here. So if I were to comment all these out, just so you don't get confused, I'll leave it as is. So step one is in the start. So in yours, when you do, will be inside the main, which is the same thing. Okay, I'm using JavaFX one, but it's the same thing. Inside the main or the stage start class method. Step one is you want to say class.form.forName, and then you copy that driver, you put it here. Okay. So when you run this application, it would load the driver. It's going to load for a driver called MySQL driver inside here. Going to grab that, and then all its libraries will be available. Okay. You load that. It's just to say it's connected, so I'm just going to print that out. Basically, nothing there. Step two is you're going to connect that server. So in this example, we're going to connect to a to the Mercury server here, because sometimes maybe your connection might be not working or have a different table and so on. So I will also copy this out for you so we can use it as well. Where is the file? Okay. So now it says create a connection called connection type. Once you do that, it's going to ask you to import. So import the connection, the SQL. It will be this thing here. So if you want to type import java.sql.star, okay, that will solve all your problem. Okay. And so we want to create a connection object, and then copy this. Okay, this is basically again the notes up here from the lecture notes. So we got the step one, step two is one of these. You're using MySQL server, so you use one of these here. So many options, okay? The one I have is still Chronos, so let me update this with the new one, so you can use this to do your examples.
Do you have this example file?
Yeah.
For us?
Yes. So this one, this Chronos, this doesn't work right now. Chronos is dead. So use the third one here. I'll make this yellow, so you can. So the Mercury account here, a gateway, the rack 300 Java book, and then the password, and then the username and password. Okay, so it's all there. So just connect that, copy the file, and then make a connection, assign it to the connection. So the step two. Step 3 is we're going to create a statement. Okay, so the statement, and then you create a statement object, and then you will use the connect, which is this object here, right? Connect dot create statement. So you created that new statement. Okay, that's step 3. Step 4. I mean, don't worry about this button stuff here. Just if you do on the other one, just the order, right? So step 4 is now you want to create the result set. You're going to query from that table. So I think the table is called table. Let me do this. So here, select the first name, middle name, last name, phone number from the table. It's called table, and then last name only applies to Smith. But here I'm going to change that to say select everything from the table. Okay, call table, and the brackets. This is just you can omit that as well. It's fine. You can just take the brackets out. So everything from the table, and then once that's been done, then this result set is now has some data in there, and it needs to say if result set dot next. So this, you call this command here, while this is still true. That means that as long as there's still data, right? It's the same way as you read a text file. While there's things to read in the file, then read those data, retrieve it. Okay, so I'm gonna just comment this out for now.
So all these classes are in the SQL library. Result set.
Yes.
Connection.
Yep. Right, they're part of the library. Well, no, not in the library, but in the Java has them in the SQL library, and part of Java.
Yeah.
But you just need the MySQL connector to connect to the MySQL server. That's all I mean. So each one has its own, just the API. I'm not sure if I'm clear. So what's inside the jar? This is just an API. Okay. It doesn't have the MySQL results, all the stuff in here. It's inside the Java library up here, and the this is part of Java.
Yeah, that's
library.
What I meant.
Yep. Yes. Okay. So and then let me comment this out. I don't need that for now. This is for the GUI. So if this result set is not empty, then retrieve them. Okay. So result set that get string. And inside the paren is, you had two options. If you remember advanced PHP, you can retrieve a record from PHP from table, and you can get the option of calling the actual column name, or just get the order in which it's being retrieved from. So the first column to the last column. In this case, I'm pulling everything from the table. So if it has 10 columns, then it's going to be referenced by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way through 10. Okay, so if you know which column you want to grab, then you can put the number in here just to grab those columns. Or if you want to grab the column name instead, if you know them, then you can reference the actual name, okay, to grab those data. So here it says to grab the first name, because that's the first field. And then the second field is 2, so that's the second field here. And the third is last name. Fourth is the phone number. So it's going to give all this information here, and then display it to the output. And then it's going to loop through that. So you print everything out, and then we're done. So let's see if this still works. I haven't tested so far. I'm going to run this, see if there's any errors. Okay. It seems like it's waiting for me to click this button here. I'll click on it. Okay, so there are some errors. The errors are, have an error, SQL syntax, check the amount correspond to your MySQL version of the syntax table, line 1. So for some reason this one has an error. I have to make sure, I have to figure out why this is not working.
Where did it throw the error? Did you connect? Yeah, you connected, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
And then
connected. Yeah,
it threw error when you tried to pull the data.
yeah. So let me move this outside. Let me move this one here and put it outside here, so I don't have to click the button. I'm just going to display this part to the screen. So let's see.
It said syntax, so maybe Maria's got a couple syntax
Well,
differences or something.
yeah. Well, that's weird. That's where I run it earlier. I thought it was fine.
Well, yeah, how can that
Mm-hmm.
state?
Okay, so I have to figure out why this is not working. Either that or something is wrong with this table here. I ran earlier this morning. It was working fine. I'm not sure. Okay, I will figure out why, and then I'll let you know. But this is pretty much the same process here, right? Same idea. Now, the other one I'll show you really quick here is same thing, except connecting to this server. Okay, connecting to the SQL server. And to do that, you need to do two things. So, back here on the note, if you go down to I think the bottom. Okay, down here at the bottom, at line towards the bottom, it says adding Jdbc drivers for MySQL. That's what you need to do, right? We did that already. This is the instructions are here. But for SQL Server, okay, you need to click this link here and then go and then download this file, this driver file. Just click download. Okay, once you download that, run it, and it will run, and then it will basically extract those files for you, wherever you want to have it extracted to. So I think I have it extracted to somewhere.
You could put it right in your workspace.
Yeah, yeah, I extracted somewhere. Where does it go? I don't remember. So you can do this one here, just install, download, install, and then run. And it's a pretty small file, you can see. Okay, run that file. And then just basically extract it where you want to extract this to. So you can just browse it, and I'm going to put it on the desktop again. Click OK, and then just unzip. So everything's done. It's really quick. So on the desktop, you see this new folder called Microsoft, wherever that is. Where'd it go? Oh, it's all here. It's right here. Okay. And if you open the file, you'll see that it has the ENU. It has the Java version. So we're using JAR8. In the JAR8, you have this jar file. Okay. So same thing inside Eclipse, just like you did it earlier, right? So you can go into project or properties, add a new jar file, go to the desktop. I have it in desktop. It's inside this folder called SQL Jdbc. Go to ENU and then JAR8 and grab that jar file, and just like before, right? Apply, OK, and then we added that to the reference library. So now we can also connect to that one. There's one additional step you need to do is inside here. Go back to the folder here, the ENU. Inside the AUTH authorization folder, there's this two versions here depending on your machine. So it's a 64-bit machine, then going in here. And you need to also add this file either on a project base. That means you drag it and put it inside the project here. Or if you want to apply to all your Java programs, then you can do it by adding that to your Java file. Like inside, if you go to your C drive, Okay, and the program files Java, the JRE, okay, and then the bin folder, and then just drag this inside here. Okay, so it has a skill, the DL file is inside the Java folder. If you do this way, then every file is, you don't have to add that every time. You still have to connect to the API, like that project and so on, but you don't have to do it anymore. Otherwise, you have to do it every time. Like go here, I just deleted, move that over. You go here, you want to copy this and then drag into your project. It's going to say make a copy, and you have that additional file here. So if you do this way, then only this project has can use SQL Server, the SQL Server. And if you had a new project, you have to do it every time, right? So instead of doing this, you just basically drag into your GRE folder, and then you're okay.
Where's the link to that Microsoft extension?
It's inside the notes at the very bottom. Okay, the link there. So once you have that up and running, then the code will be kind of similar. So here, this is a regular Java program, right? So here I have, again, I do a string, which is fine. You can do this way, or you can just apply directly into the connector here. So the other file I did was I added into the driver manager connection and put the whole link in here. Here I just put it into a separate link, so you can see that the get connection is basically this URL. I can just drag, put that on here, it's fine too. But you put a separate URL, I mean a string. So again, this is from the note. So you can have, so this part here, all these parts are the same, except I should just do this. It's just the single long string. Okay, I just put that there so you can see it. But it's a single long string like that. So the database name is the actual database name on your SQL Server. I'm using Adventures Work 2012 because I have it here is it's a really big database right here. So Adventures 2012 has a lot of tables. Okay, so I want to pull information from the person, that person table here. Okay, so in my code I use that table, and this is a port number that is assigned to SQL Server. So it's a default port number 1433. That's what you have to put that there. Okay, and then get your connectors. These are all your the connection, the statement, the result set. Okay, and here I put in a try catch, but you don't have to. You don't have to. Usually you don't have to, but you could. Usually you want to make sure you don't have any errors. So again, step 1. Driver.
Whose port is 1433? Is that a default port number?
Yeah, default port for the Microsoft SQL Server. Okay. So this is step 1, right? Make the connection. So if you look at the notes again, I showed you way up here, step 1. I mean, load the driver. Okay? So load the driver. Here's the driver for SQL Server. Then step 2. Make the connection. So SQL Server, make the connection down here, right here. So this is step 2 here. 2, connection. Step 3, get your statements right here. Okay? 3. And then step 4, result set, right? Result set. And then you run it and you check it while it's the result set, return this information here. So if you get these statements here, copy this, go into the SQL Server, and if I were to select the Adventures Work table database table, this one here, and if I run that command here, you see that it gets only loads the first 10. If you take this out, it's a lot of data, has a lot. Okay, about 19,000 records. So I just want to see the top 10. Okay, that's what it means. So this you see has all these different rows. So here it says, grab me just the 5th column, 6th column, and 7th column. So here's the 1st column, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th column, the first name, 6th is the middle name, and 7 is the last name. So, and put a space in between, and then print that out to the screen. Okay, so if you run this, see if it works this time. So here we have it. Okay, so the result is you get the first name, middle name, and last name. Okay, first name, middle name, last name. Terry Lee Duffy. Terry Lee Duffy, and you have 10 of them. Michael Rahim. Michael Noel is nothing there. Rahim. Okay, so if you know the actual field, it's like, for example, this is the first name. You could say here, you know, first name, and that should still be fine. If you know the actual folder, the actual column name, you reference that here, so you don't care about the order. If you want to say, give me the, you know, the, yeah, a different field, right? If you put it like number 2, then you get a different data, because number 2 refers to whatever that is. It didn't do it, but okay. So I will have these uploaded there. I also want to share with you so you can look it over and see if that helps. But for the assignment, you are going to do these assignments here. If you're using the other book, okay, I also provide those in the course resources. I think they're kind of the same thing. It's just different number. So 31, 3, and 5. And I have it here. Let's see. So you're going to have access and update a staff table. You do a dialog and display some content.
Can you go back and show me the link to that Microsoft library for this?
Right here?
Yeah.
Microsoft.com.
Get that URL.
Microsoft.com in English, and a download confirm. I think that's where it is. ID 1174. This whole thing, but it's on the note, so if you can go there, probably easier. Okay, so if you plan to use the SQL Server, that's fine. Or if you use MySQL, then use the phpMyAdmin. And I think it might ask you to like use this file here. Okay. So all you do is basically copy everything here, and then go here and then add it into create a table, like my first database. Okay. And then paste it here, and just pretty much run. And if it doesn't work, because I think some issues with the thing here, but yeah, I will look at. Well, yeah, this is probably not it, but I will check it again. I'll update that code and make sure it works. You should be able to just add there and then just execute, and it will create all the tables for you automatically, and then you can go ahead and do the assignments. Access these data here. Okay. All right. I think that's it. And so I will have also a study guide posted hopefully by tomorrow, if not sooner, maybe tomorrow, Friday, for you guys to kind of use as a guide. So the exam will cover all the units up to tonight, and it won't be a difficult exam, I can guarantee you. It's about maybe 25, 30 questions, so it won't be that hard. Okay, and no trick questions. Okay, so things that you've done in the class, and we have discussed in the class mostly, so you should be fine. I'm serious. There are no trick questions.